everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. This week I thought I'd do a couple of updates, life updates if you will, mainly because I didn't want to have to do them while I was on a run because my brain just fries when I'm running and I really struggle to remember everything I'm supposed to be saying. So I thought I'd do this sitting down so that I try and actually remember everything. So most importantly, I would say this is the year of community for me. Having moved from London to Bristol 4 years ago, I have loved the sense of community here. But also on the flip side of that, I've really struggled with the fact that so many things in my life seem to be London centric. As someone who was born and raised in London, although I knew it academically that like everything was in London all the time, including all of my events for running and all of my work things, my agency, etc, etc, I never really like thought of it as a problem, mainly because I was living in like Zone 2 London. So it was fairly easy for me. Having moved out here, despite the fact that the kind of local community is so friendly and so lovely, in terms of work, I sometimes struggle with the whole commuting and the fact that there are comparatively very few events here in Bristol. So I've decided to change that. I can't change the whole industry, sadly, but what I can do is put on some of my own events and host some of my own projects, etc. So first of all, I wanted to let you know about 2 run clubs that I'm hosting in the next 6 weeks or so. I decided to do 2 because one of them's in the week and one of them's at a weekend. I appreciate that not everyone can do weekdays, especially if they're not based in Bristol, and not everyone can do weekends because a lot of people are away at the weekend. So I thought by doing 2, hopefully that will reach the optimal amount of people who would like to come and join. This is a run club in partnership with Bristol Run Club, who are an amazing community-led, I guess, run club that is just completely not-for-profit. It was set up by a few university students who wanted to kind of create something that was very low-key, very approachable, and that people who were not particularly familiar with running could still go to. So if you wanted to come along to a run club and get that whole community aspect, but you didn't want to be running like 10, 15k at the weekends, that you could still do that. And I did a run club with them like last year sometime or earlier this year. Honestly, like this whole past year has just blended into one in my head. I think it was last year, and it was so much fun, and 50 of you came and the tickets sold out within half an hour, which I cannot believe. So I decided to do more this time. More tickets, more events, hopefully more of you coming. The first run club is on the 11th of September, which is a Wednesday, and that one's going to be after work, so it's going to be sort of 5:30 arrival for 6 p.m. start, and there's going to be a run, and then after the run is going to be a Q&A, and I'm doing this with Anya Culling, who is one of the coaches on Runner, and this run club is going to be kind of in partnership with Runner, so we're going to hear a little bit more about who they are, what they do, why I'm an ambassador for them, why I love it so much, why I've been working with them for so long, but also you can send in all of your coaching and training questions and all of them will be answered there at the Q&A after the run club. So it's not just the running part of it, there's also going to be a mingling and a kind of panel discussion afterwards where you guys can send in all your questions, ask them on the night, and we will answer them to the best of our ability. So that'll be me and Anya. You don't have to be a member of Runner to come, obviously, just it's open to everyone, and all you have to do is get the tickets when they go live 2 weeks before the event. The second run club is on the 29th of September, and that is going to be on a Sunday morning at 10 a.m. and that one is in partnership with Sun God, who are my sunglasses sponsors. Most of you will know them because I wear them in pretty much every single video. I'm really excited for that one as well because it's kind of like a run and brunch situation, and I managed to get a spot at Origin Coffee. I don't know if you have heard of Origin Coffee. If you haven't, you're missing out. Anyone who's based in the southwest probably would have heard of them. They are based down in Cornwall, but they've just recently opened a store here in Bristol, and I begged them for us to be able to host the event at their new store because their coffee is the best coffee in the world, I think, probably. We're going to drink a lot of it after the event. So that's going to be a run. There's going to be 3 different run groups, so there's going to be everything from like 3-4k all the way up to about 10 kilometers. So it's nothing crazy. It's going to be at a very leisurely pace. There's going to be a stop halfway through to make sure that everyone's sticking together, and it's going to be chatty. The whole point is it's conversational pace so that we can have all the conversations and the best time. And then afterwards everyone can come back to the store. You can also, for the run, you can try on the Sun God sunglasses to see what it is that you like. Try before you buy sort of situation. And then there's going to be an exclusive discount as well for everyone who who comes along to the run club to be able to buy some if you so wish. But the purpose of the run club is really just to come along and have fun. It's just, I get asked a lot whether Sun God do discounts, and they don't really. So when I thought about this event, I was like, what is a way I can add value other than just inviting people to run together? And I thought, a discount code for Sun God. That makes a lot of sense. There may also be a chance for attendees to win a pair of Sun Gods, which will be amazing. There'll be between 50 and 80 people there, so it is quite a big event, but still your chance of winning is kind of relatively high, especially compared to winning the lottery. Anyway, that's the second event, and I'm super excited for that one as well. Just to be completely transparent, I imagine a lot of you are thinking, oh, Flora's just hosting these events because she gets paid for them. Let me tell you now, I do not get paid for any of these events. I host them because I think social media can have this sort of distance between the person putting out content and the people receiving the content. It's one of the reasons why I love YouTube so much, because it actually does feel like we have a conversation. I put things out there, I get comments, I reply to all the comments, I certainly do read all of them, and it gives a bit more of a personable feel rather than just like me sticking out content into the ether and you guys just sort of receiving it and that's the end of it. But one step further than that, I thought actually hosting events is probably one of the best ways to meet your community, and I am very proud of the community that I've built on here, and let me tell you, it's been a long time coming. I mean, I started social media when I was about 15 years old. I'm now 29 years old, so I've been doing this for a really long time, and the times I have felt most inspired and most happy about my life in general, but also about running and about the running community, is times when I've had in-person events with people, and they have always been lovely. So I'm really excited about these, and I can't wait to see some of you there if you're able to get tickets. Again, tickets for the one on the 29th go live 2 weeks before that event, but when this vlog goes live, I will also be announcing the 2 different events. So if you miss some of the details, that will all be in the Instagram post over on my Instagram account and also the Bristol Run Club account. So if you're part of either of those, you will hopefully see all the details, and any questions you have, stick down in the comments below or in the Instagram posts, and like I said, I read them all, so I will get back to you. As an aside, but also slightly related to that, is another community project that I'm hosting that I have referred to in the recent past, which is the Pollinator Pathways project. And when I tell you I am excited about this project, that is a massive understatement. I almost can't sleep because I'm so excited about this project. Unfortunately, I am very impatient, and gardening and sort of wildlife conservation, all that kind of stuff, and impatience are like antithetical to each other. So it's actually probably quite good for, you know, calming me down and sort of building some patience into my psyche, but I'm not very good at it. If you didn't hear about the project, the Pollinator Pathways project is a way of greening up spaces in urban environments, specifically in Bristol, because that's where I live, and it connects up existing green spaces around Bristol. So around us, we're super lucky to have a couple of nature reserves, a lot of city parks, and it's lovely and green. But unfortunately, in the past, a lot of people or councils have paved over spaces that used to be green. Obviously, for some people, that has a lot of benefits. When you need to park your car, it helps to have a solid surface to park on. However, a lot of these paved over spaces are not being used at all, and it's not that people want them to be paved over, it's that they don't necessarily know what else they could do with the space, and they also don't necessarily have the resources or the ability to green them up themselves. So the Pollinator Pathways project is a way of helping people to green up spaces that were previously paved over or had no ecological value. So that might include gravel, for example, that has a weed suppressing membrane to stop any greenery coming through at all. And what I've been doing with the first pot of funding, and yes, this has been funded by 2 separate grants, very, very small grants, but still, money is money. The first part of the project has been digging up people's front gardens with their permission, of course, and with their help, and with the help of the community, and replacing it with pollinator-friendly planting. And what that does, and what this would do if more people did it, would be to create literal pathways, literal corridors of greenery between existing green spaces. And we have more space in our gardens than we have in all nature reserves in the UK combined. And the benefit of doing this on front gardens is also that it benefits the whole community, because you walk down these streets every single day, and rather than just seeing concrete after concrete after concrete, you start to see bits of nature. And there's evidence to suggest that even looking at the colour green is good for your mental health and calms you down, promotes parasympathetic parasympathetic nervous system, etc, etc. And looking at nature and being in nature is really, really good for calming you down. I imagine that's why so many of us love trail running, because it is a way of spending a lot of time in nature. In fact, it's the reason that I got into ultramarathons, is effectively to be able to spend as much time in nature as possible and kind of call it work. But my background is in biology, so I wanted to figure out a way of kind of sharing my knowledge from that, but also involve the community, because I'm not really interested in academia aside from, you know, obviously there's a huge amount of great information that comes out of it. I actually wanted to put that into practice because I get really frustrated by the lack of speed that things happen within the academic world, and that is for good reason. But equally, we have enough information to know that green spaces are not only good for our mental health, not only good for wildlife, but also cool down our streets in the summer. The difference in temperature between, say, concrete or asphalt and even just lawn, which is almost ecologically defunct, is huge. And when you start adding in trees there, it's like 10 degrees different. So a few summers ago we had 37 degrees Celsius, nearly 40 degrees Celsius here in Bristol, and it was over 40 in London. When you're in the shade of the trees, that is significantly cooler. And obviously with climate change, etc., it helps to have as many ways of cooling down the cities as possible. And you get this urban heat bubble effect in cities whereby, because there is so many buildings and so much black asphalt and roads and paving, etc., it absorbs the heat and creates this heat dome over cities. And if you had more greenery, then that wouldn't happen so much. Apart from that, it also reduces flood risk. We're on a big hill, so flood risk here is pretty low, but all the water that lands on paving all just runs off, and it runs onto streets, and the streets run down, and the pipes, because quite a lot of them are very old, can get really easily overwhelmed, and they either get blocked and you end up with sort of sewage releases into rivers or overflows, etc., into rivers, or you end up with areas of flooding. And just recently, from the huge deluge that we had relatively recently, we ended up with a burst pipe down the end of our road, and it flooded everywhere. Whereas if you incorporated more greenery into people's front gardens and people's gardens in general, that absorbs the water coming down from the sky. And this obviously is what is supposed to happen in nature. Water is not supposed to all go into pipes and then get recycled in some capacity there. It's actually supposed to be absorbed by plants. And that reduces flood risk. It also benefits the plants themselves. It has all sorts of benefits. But I think academically, we all know plants are good, concrete is bad for the most part. It has its benefits, but generally, if we can avoid having more concrete, then that is a good thing. So the second half of the Pollinator Pathways project is to green up alleyways and pathways around Bristol. Clean and green is what I've been calling it. Things like litter picking, obviously litter's not good for the environment, and then also planting up areas, creating planters, putting in pollinator friendly planting in there, and hopefully doing some other cool stuff that I can't wait to tell you about. And these are funded by two different funding bodies. One is funded by the Pollination Project, which is a US based organisation that funds anything that is beneficial to pollinators, and the other one is funded by the Knoll West Alliance, and that is the local area that I live in Bristol, and it is a very deprived area, and anything that we can do to make it a little bit kind of nicer to live in, I think is a really good thing. But not only that, it also involves the community in this project. So every single part of this project has been made possible by the help of volunteers. And I am loving it because I've met so many lovely people, and also I'm doing something that I love. So in terms of making me happy, it's right up there. You're probably wondering why I'm rambling on about this. They're linked in many ways. One is that it is involving the community here in Bristol, which I think is super important. The second one is for both of the run clubs, you can opt to donate your entry fee into the Pollinator Pathways project, and it's completely up to you whether or not you want to do this. There is also another charity that you can donate to, and just to clarify, Pollinator Pathways project, I only set it up earlier this year. It's not a registered charity, so I will never at any point say it's a registered charity until if we get it registered. But you can opt to donate to the charity, donate to the Pollinator Pathway project if you like the sound of it, or if you are financially unable to pay for the tickets at all, please email us, because I don't want cost to be a barrier to people coming and taking part in the Bristol Run Club. So please just let me know if that is the case. I really want this to be open to everyone, so yeah, just email me and we'll figure something out. Those are the 2 projects that I really wanted to chat about, and I definitely wouldn't have remembered all of that information if I was running. So please forgive the rambling and the lack of beautiful scenery around me. I have a gallery wall behind me, but I don't think that's quite as beautiful. But I really hope some of you can make it to the Run Club. I appreciate a lot of you are based abroad. I do have some plans in the pipeline for some slightly bigger stuff next year, but TBC. That will need to be announced a lot closer to the time, but hold your horses. Things will happen where other people can get to it that are a little bit bigger than an evening or a daytime run club. So just watch this space and things will happen soon. If you have any questions about either the Run Club or the Pollinator Pathways project, please do stick it down below. My goal in the future for this project is to be able to create a sort of blueprint or template for people to be able to do similar in their area, because I'm only one person, and while the volunteers have all been absolutely incredible and we've made such a difference to the local area that we live in, we need more people doing this sort of thing, and there are grants out there to be able to do it. It just takes a lot of time, so that is why I shared who I'm getting the grant through. I don't see it as competition when other people want to do a similar project. I think we all need to be doing projects like this, and I'm still searching for other grants, so if you know of any, please do let me know, because I want to make this as big as possible and to help as many people as possible. So just let me know down below. I'll be back with more running content next week, but hopefully I'll be seeing some of you also very soon at the Bristol Run Club, either on the 11th of September or on the 29th. And thank you all so much for your support. Like I said, community is everything to me, and I wouldn't be able to do any of this without you guys. So I'll see you next week, and that is it for this week's vlog. Thanks for watching. Bye!